The former lower strata of the middle estate, the small tradespeople, shopkeepers and rentiers, the handicraftsmen and peasants, all these sink gradually into the proletariat, partly because their diminutive capital does not suffice for the scale on which modern industry, capital letters, is carried on, and is swamped by the competition with the large capitalists, partly because their specialized skill is rendered worthless by new methods of production. Thus, the proletariat is recruited from all classes of the population. So, this is essentially saying that, yeah, even if you were in a previously lucrative or well-respected profession or industry, you are nothing compared to the titans of industry, and they regard you as nothing. The proletariat goes through various stages of development. With its birth begins the struggle with the bourgeoisie. At first, the contest is carried on by individual labourers, then by the workpeople of a factory, then by the operatives of one trade in one locality against the individual bourgeois who directly exploits them. They direct their attacks not only against the bourgeois conditions of production, they direct them against the instruments of the production themselves. They destroy imported wares that compete with their labour. They smash into pieces machinery. They set factories ablaze. They seek to restore by force the vanished status of the workman of the Middle Ages. And this does speak to the dangerous side of left-wing ideology, quite genuinely. You know, there is talk of this. This is where the violence arises on the left, out of a well-meant but perhaps not complete anger. However, it goes back to that quote of Arendt's that they don't trust the people who are controlling them. It is entirely possible that the economy could have stayed in sort of the post-war economic miracle state where capitalists voluntarily, and it would have been voluntarily, limited their wealth. They would still have been the bourgeois class. They would still have had all the political control. But they actively limited their own wealth so that all the levels below, the proletarians, if you want to go with that vast duality, but if you don't, then all of the classes who are not members of the bourgeois, all of them would still have had cause to believe that their lives and their ability to thrive was somewhere in the calculation, because it is clearly not the case with what we see in the modern world.